1.
2 3/4.
You're live.
We're live now. All right, Wayne, how are you?
Good afternoon. Pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Pleased to have you. So this is Jonathan Harmon with the J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams. This is Table Talk, where there is always room at the table to discuss all kinds of fun stuff. And this guy right here, one of my personal heroes. I don't know if I've ever told you that or not, but I look up to him so much. He has led a life of service, continues to lead a life of service. We were just talking about what the next next version of that will be, and fellow Rotarian, and again, community leader, insurance agent, grandfather, father. What other hats do you wear, buddy?
I think that probably covers all of them. I'm grateful to be with you, and I have the same esteem for you as well. So, I'm grateful for the invitation again.
I did leave one out. One hell of a fish chef.
Oh, we were talking about that several days ago about cooking fish, and looking back after 19 attempts, I don't know how many thousands of pounds of fish that I've had the opportunity to cook with our fish fry fundraiser with the Smyrna Rotary Club.
It's been a lot.
It's been such fun. The entire team, there's different areas of responsibilities, as you well know, and I've been blessed to get to be with the fry cooks, and we have our own little apron, and we
you have your own coolers.
Yes. hadn't developed a secret handshake yet, but there is a camaraderie there with the cooks that maybe no one else has, but it's it's
a big deal when y'all get your apron, when you bring a new person in and give them. I mean, that's like a thing. It's a rite of passage.
Well, most of us will show up and help set up the hangar, which of course with the Interact students, is just, they have made it so much easier.
No doubt.
But then of course we get there and we cut the fillets so they're manageable to cook, and of course they have to be thawed. And then we will when we start cooking, one group will batter and the rest of us will cook fish, and there'll be a group that'll be cooking chicken fillets, and another group that will cook fries. And I just thought it was just amazing that we cooked 500 pounds of catfish, 500 pounds of chicken fillets, and 500 pounds of French fries this past
in 3 hours.
Yes,
4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah,
and of course there's white beans and coleslaw, and then of course the other vendors that have. And I forget, you'll have to help me with the section where they line up and people can get
the bait shack.
Yeah, bait shack.
Yeah, the bait shack.
So there's just so many different aspects of the Wings of Freedom fish fry that just, I continue to be just, I guess, really blown away at how large it has become and how much fun it has become.
So on that note, this past one, 2021, we raised, for the first time, we crossed the $200,000 mark. We had probably close to 2,000 people at the Smyrna Airport. Had a wonderful time, and we are just now starting to ramp up for the next one. And when I say that, I mean really starting to hit the pavement, looking for sponsors, looking for people that want to buy tickets, want to come out and support. So if you're listening and you are interested in some tickets or in sponsoring, we would love to talk to you.
Certainly would.
So definitely let us know. I don't even remember how many businesses. It's something like 98 businesses, or maybe just over 100 businesses. It's a bunch of businesses that support.
But I can tell you that with Commissioner / our President, Robert Stevens, there was no doubt in my mind that we were not going to pass that 200,000.
That is one determined man, isn't he?
He was determined that the all-inclusive playground completed and
and paid for.
That's
right.
Of course, we certainly thank the town of Smyrna and the Christy Houston Foundation. Without the three-way partnership, it doesn't get completed.
For sure.
But to have those three community entities come together to make what I think is just a gorgeous facility for all the children to play.
So I got to ask you, have you played on that playground yet?
You know,
because I have.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's awesome.
At my age and with 2 knee replacement.
No, sir. It is all abilities.
Yeah.
That is why we built it.
So,
don't you give me that excuse.
But I have, but my 2 grandchildren have played there.
Oh, you got to run up the ramp with them just once.
Well, we may try that sometime, but that's in the future, and I'll just have to make sure I'm in a little better shape. Maybe.
Oh, it's funny. So before we get too much deeper, I do want to throw 2 shout outs, actually. One to Mr. Brian Nail at Iberia Bank Mortgage. My friend Brian Nail, best lender in Middle Tennessee, in my opinion. And it should be yours. Remember that Mack truck? That's my opinion, and ought to be yours.
Jerry House.
Yep. And so if you need a mortgage, give Brian a call. He would love to help. So thank you, Brian, for underwriting this section, this podcast on the Spread the Positive Network. And then my second shout out is to my other friend, the other bald-headed wonder in this room, Mr. Trent Denson, producer Trent.
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Always great to be here.
Who was on time and early
man, we were
today.
2 minutes early.
What the what?
Yeah.
Yep. So,
yep.
And then, of course, production assistant Miss Cammie
in the building
is walking around. She hasn't barked yet.
No,
She's
doing good.
I was hoping that she would get some shout out.
Oh, yeah.
She's a good girl.
She's a cutie. Oh, she's found something. I don't know what she's playing with there, but
she's a cutie.
It's almost like she's asking permission right now to play with the microphone cover there. Yeah. That's funny. So, and again, my friend Wayne Blair here, Rayburn Insurance. How long have you been with them?
Of course, I've been in the industry as of next month. 37 years.
Wow.
With Rayburn. I think 35, maybe 36 this fall. So with Derek and Baker, and it makes for a very good business partnership. Of course, their dad, Dub, of course, who started the agency back in '73, and you could do several podcasts with his life.
No doubt.
You know, being a smoke jumper, National Guardsman on the bridge at Selma, at the University of Alabama, when troops were when the National Guard was federalized. So, I mean, just an amazing life, and of course, has raised 3 very good men as sons, and all 3 have been president of either the Smyrna or the Laverne Rotary Club.
Yeah.
And of course, Dub was president, so he and his 3 sons have all been Rotary past presidents.
That's awesome.
I think that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty cool. So here's a little trivia, little tidbit that I think you'll appreciate. So of course, Dub Rayburn and Frank Crosland were Frank Crosland Jr. We're very good friends, and my mom and dad both worked at Crosland Supply for forever, 20, 25 years, whatever it was. And in the bathroom behind my mom's office, okay, almost nobody ever got to go use it except when I was there. That's the bathroom I would go use. Right next to the commode, hanging up on the wall, there was a little box. It was about this big, and it had a golf ball and a couple golf tees in it, and it had a scorecard for a round of golf, and it had Frank Jr. and Dub and 2 other guys, and I can't remember who it was, but I'll never forget. Not to get too graphic here, but every time I was standing at the commode, I'd look over to my right, and there it was, and it was Frank Jr. and Dub every single time, and I was like, "Hey, that's cool."
Kind of a different place to put an honor, I guess.
I don't know. It's just one of those things that stuck out for some reason.
Yeah.
So
I've heard some stories of their hanging out over the years, so we won't talk about that right now.
This is a family show.
But they were great friends, and they had some good times together.
For sure. So, Wayne, what I really want to talk to you about is, you served on the the Rutherford County School Board for several years. You served at the state level school board as well, and currently you're a county commissioner. So I want to talk about service in the public sector like that. Why in the world you'd want to do it? What are the challenges from your perspective that you're seeing currently? And then if there is somebody out there that is interested in serving, some pointers, some, maybe try to talk them out of it, maybe try to, give them some food for thought.
Well, my personal opinion is that everyone should run for public office at least once.
Everyone.
And it would,
I don't know about that.
Well, running and being successful.
That's true. That's a good point.
But running will give you a different perspective, about candidates on the whole. Having the opportunity to serve will give you a completely different perspective as to one that you might have had prior to being elected. I know I sat out in the school board audience for 3 years prior to being elected to the school board. And what I thought watching school board meetings, going to workshops, just trying to go to everything that they went to and try to shorten the learning curve that most people have when they attain a particular office. But even after 3 years, I found that sitting on the other side of that desk was still different. And
it's a lot of responsibility.
It is. Of course, now we, the school board that's serving presently, they have almost 50,000 students to look at.
And there's how many on the board?
7. And
you think about that for a second. Yep. 7 people make the decisions that impact the education and ultimately the future of 50,000 people in our county,
and responsible for a $500 million budget.
That's crazy. And you don't, if you get paid, it's very little, right? I don't even. Do you guys get paid?
Yes.
Okay.
The school board is paid per meeting, and the county commission is as well.
But it is not.
Well, I mean, if I took, especially when I was chairman of the school board for 2 years, if I took the hours that I spent involved in school related issues, I would not have made minimum wage.
Right.
But if you do it for the money, then you're making a huge
you're going to be very disappointed.
You're going to be very disappointed. But it does take a lot of time, especially being on the school board. And if you're fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to be chairperson, and fortunately we have, I think, in the first in Rutherford County history, Madam Chairman Johnson is the first female to serve as the board chair.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she, when I decided not to run, and she ran and took my seat on the school board. And of course, she has served very well, and she's been rewarded for her leadership by being elected the chair and doing an amazing job as far as I'm concerned.
So this is always my question. You don't get paid very much. You have people yelling at you all the time. Whatever decision you make, there's going to be at least a contingent of people that are not happy with it, right? You're never going to have a unanimous 100%. Everybody loves this decision. I mean, that's just impossible. Why in the world do you do it?
Coming from a blue collar family, and seeing as I grew up, I saw that the children whose parents were involved in their education did best.
Sure.
They were most successful.
Sure.
And having had the opportunity to serve as a PTO president, like I said, at 3 schools for several years, and just adamant that my children would do well and excel, and they did. And my brothers and sisters all had the same mindset. So all of my nieces and nephews all did very well. Several of them have PhDs,
Hmm.
and all are very successful in their professions. But I think being a PTO president during that time, and I don't mean this in a wrong way, but it steeled me, STEEL,
Hmm.
for the complaints, the um, disagreements that come from some of the decisions that I had made. And like I said, one group, they'll be happy with the way you voted. Another group may not be so much, but it's you have to have that desire to serve. And I think, you know, being in Rotary is also part of that. And you may be a Line or you may be a JC, but uh, having that willingness to serve or that desire to serve uh, will lead you sometimes past just community service. And maybe in my case, I've had the honor of serving the community,
Hmm.
and I like to refer to us as a county community, because when I was on the school board, if Lascassas needed it more than the community that I lived in, we sent it to Lascassas. If it needed to go to uh, to a Murfreesboro based school, that's that's where it went.
Hmm.
So it's having a mentality of serving everyone and doing it in the right way.
So what is the reward then? And two part. What's the reward, and how do you know if you're successful at what you do?
Well, I think it's self gratification. Needless to say, I got emails, especially later on in my school board career, that when somebody didn't agree with me, they would you know, accuse me of the good old boy mentality,
Sure.
and 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 that's just part of the deal, that you go in knowing that there's going to be adversarial relationships because of the decisions that you make. And fortunately, as a school board member or as a commissioner, we have a number of strong professionals in the central office and in the county office, to guide you in your decisions. And we know things that maybe the general public would not know, and they don't understand why the decision was made the way it was. So, but you try to,
And they certainly don't have the big picture, right? So you tend to clue in on the stuff that immediately impacts you.
I hope so. I
And,
hope
and so
so.
they don't necessarily see, if I live in Smyrna, oh well, Las Casas really did need this more
Sure.
than we did in Smyrna.
They and that and how would they know?
Right.
And but other than giving us an opportunity to share why, and you have to in order to do that, because the media presence really isn't getting the word out these days. And um, I don't know how many people actually watch YouTube, but every meeting that the county commission uh, holds, steering, public works, health ed, public safety, they're all televised. You can watch it live, or you can catch up on it, you know, at your leisure.
Recorded. Hmm.
And you can sit on the couch with a Diet Coke and sip on it and listen and know what's going on.
You don't
But
even have to put pants on.
you don't even have to drive to the courthouse or the central office. You can just listen.
Yeah.
And all the uh, commissioners, their contact information is on the web. On the website, excuse me. And school board, all of their emails and contact information is available. So, if you have a question, if you don't understand why the decision was made the way it was made,
Call and ask.
call or email and ask.
What's been more rewarding, county commission or school board?
Boy, you know, they have their different challenges. With the school board, budget is always forefront of
Sure.
every year. But with COVID, the teacher or the professional educator shortage, that's concerning for Rutherford County, which is growing so fast. Space has become a real problem.
Facilities, yeah.
The school board voted to rezone some students to kind of space them out, because right now I think Rockvale, which is 3 years old, maybe
Yeah.
I get
2 or 3.
yeah.
Mhm.
3 years old or 4 years old, as it's the third largest high school in the state.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And
And it's out. I mean, compared to some of the others, it's out in the middle of nowhere.
But your other schools, the only one that I believe is not at full capacity or over capacity at this point is Siegel, but I think it's close to 1,900 students.
That's crazy.
And so with 1,800 students coming in this year, what does next year with all the construction going on? And the former director of schools, Harry Gill, used to say that we are judged by the way we treat our children or our students. And, you want them to have the best opportunity, for academic success. And I don't think that being out in a trailer is where they need to be. Of course, we've tried since I was on the school board to get out of the trailer business, but we still have 150 plus of them. And I think they're going to have to buy a couple just to replace a couple. And but capital projects, which comes from local money, BEP pays a portion of the teachers and the administrators' salary, but your and my tax dollars pay for new schools, for new footprints, for HVACs, for like I said, for new roofs,
Portables.
And you'll never hear me use that term, because they're a trailer, because we pick them up and we move them. And it cost, if I recollect correctly, it cost about $8,000 to move, and then another 30 to hook up all of the electrical, the intercom, the safety.
So it's not like they're cheap.
They're not inexpensive at all. But every time you move one, the integrity is diminished somewhat.
Sure.
It's a stick built building.
It's a trailer. Yeah.
It's a trailer.
That's right. What's the biggest issue? You just hit on it for the schools, and that is, facilities and capital and space for the kids. And of course the teacher, it's always a thing to have teacher shortages, and, how do you pay them a little bit more? How do you, hopefully at some point we get to the point where we can pay them a lot more.
Sure.
What's the biggest issue facing the county right now? Switch to commissioner.
Okay. Two big issues for me, and this is my heart.
Sure.
The law enforcement community. I think presently we're short maybe 30 to 40 deputies, and
at the
county level. And unfortunately for us, the sheriff's office, they do a great job of training and vetting their officers, but then you train them, you have them, ready to go, and then a community that pays more steals them away. And so keeping, training, retaining professional law enforcement, along with the first responders, be it fire department, ambulance, so all of that is a concern for me.
I want to ask you a quick question. I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry. You mentioned first responders. What is, when you finish this, go back and talk about the county is working in conjunction and kind of supplementing or even replacing. This is my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong. Some of the volunteer fire departments and things like that. They're pulling them in. Is that?
Well, what under Chairman Pettis Reed's leadership, he's chairman of public safety. They've taken some of the federal money and are now building public safety buildings in the more rural areas.
Mhm.
The first was Rockvale, but you'll see one in Walter Hill and one in Las Casas and Kittrell, and basically that will give the first responders your deputies, your fire department, your ambulance, and it will have a space that basically is tornado proof. That citizens could come, and also give the deputies home base rather than having to go all the way back to the sheriff's office to do their paperwork. It'll give them a place.
Decentralize a little.
Basically, yes, sir.
But are they also replacing some of the volunteer departments?
I think it's a hybrid. I may, since I'm not on public safety, I hope I don't misspeak. Commissioner,
We invite Pettis, by the way.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
He is. And Commissioner Chairman Reed probably called me up and say, "Hey, you didn't get that.
You
quite
totally
right."
botched it, man.
And but I think it's a hybrid with some full timers along with some volunteers.
Gotcha.
Is my understanding.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, but I don't see how it could work any other way. So
Mhm.
I feel that has to be the.
But see, that's good to start doing that, because that also affects, as you know, insurance rates and things
Yes.
of that nature.
Yep. Your protection class is awfully important when they start
For sure.
rating your property. The other issue is
Yeah, number two here.
number two, and I have served on public works, since the day I was appointed and since I've been elected as well.
Mhm.
And the Middle Point landfill has been front and center. We've explored options. That has been one issue that the media has given some attention to. And if you haven't watched the and I'm having a senior moment here, the public meeting where they met with the regional solid waste council. And I think there was about 30 of our citizens that spoke. And I remember some of our older, I got to remember that I am one now, citizen spoke about the smell and the change of quality of life that caused them. And what was also very heart-wrenching was there was, if I recollect correctly, 3 Iraqi or Afghanistan vets that spoke and basically said that the smell from the landfill, basically caused them PTSD, and because of the smell reminded them of the war front. And that
So is there a solution yet? I mean, I know we've kicked a lot of different things around
there's
and
been,
punted some things down the road. What are we going to do?
Well, there is an opportunity for us to, there's an entity out there that has given us a proposal that takes all paper, not just clean paper, but they'll take all paper, and they'll also take all plastics, even if it has Coke syrup or something, they'll clean it, and they send the paper, and it's made into boxes that Amazon will, or Lowe's or somebody sends to your house.
Mhm.
And I believe that paper and cardboard can be recycled 7 times. And with what we have put together, it's my opinion that we could, or at least that's what's been shared, is that we can make a 40% reduction in our carbon footprint in this county just by a robust and vigorous recycling program.
But how do you get people to adopt it? So, and here's what I mean by that. I attempted there was a recycling company that was around for a while, several years ago, and you put everything into one bin and they sorted it out. They made no money. They went out of business,
Sure.
and for me, it was, okay, did I need to put this in here? When did they come? They come at a different time as a trash collection. In Murfreesboro, the city picks up the trash. In Smyrna, you hire somebody or you take it to the dump. Like, how do you get everybody going the same direction? And then second part of that is, that's great. We reduce it by 40%, but what do you do with what's already there?
Well, there are some other options that we have considered. The sticking point right now is whether or not Middle Point is going to be allowed to expand
Right.
and double in size, which I am not a proponent of. Um, presently there's at any given time 30 different out-of-county entities that bring their solid waste to Rutherford County. Davidson County alone brings 700,000 tons of their solid waste to Middle Point.
Is that per year?
That's per year.
Wow.
And here's a little side note that the state of Tennessee says that each Tennessean produces 1 ton of solid waste each year, which if you think about that,
That's a car a year.
Well, we have 360,000 people in Rutherford County now. So that's 360,000 plus tons of garbage.
No, it'd be 360 million, right?
No, I'm just talking about Rutherford County. Now, Tennessee has 3 million people. So that would be.
No, but if it's 1,000 pounds.
No, a ton.
So 2,000 pounds, 360,000 people.
Okay. Well, your math
is a lot. I mean, it's in the millions.
That's a lot of trash, but we kind of talk in tonnage rather than pounds. I don't know. Maybe we'd be better off in speaking in pounds.
It's a little more relevant, right?
It's extremely relevant, but we need to do some things differently, and recycling is a robust and vigorous recycling attempt is in my mind a first step. And there are some programs out there that actually will turn solid waste into a clean energy where you could burn it for TVA. There's just all sorts of opportunities out there.
I think that's what they're doing in Pigeon Forge, right? Isn't that what that?
I think what they're doing is just they're composting. I think their biggest attempt there is composting. But you may be right. I haven't been up to date on what everybody else is doing because we're trying to figure out what's going to be the best opportunity for us.
It's definitely a problem. Man, I think I just caught your senior moment. And I'm not even, I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Well, you're not as old as I am anyway. So, where did all the years go?
Man, I tell you what. So I let's do that. Let's completely shift gears for a second. You've got 2 awesome kids.
Thank you. I think so as well.
I know them, and they're phenomenal human beings. They take after their daddy pretty well.
Thank you.
Give me a parenting tip. I've got a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old. Give me a parenting tip.
Well, a lot of times it's all about your gut. I
have a big one. So.
Well, I'm as well as I do, but I hope my 2 children would say, "Well, Dad, you led by example," and I pray that was the case. Now, did I make some mistakes? No doubt. I'm sure my daughter will tell me that the apron strings were way too tight when she was a teenager in high school. But I'm just so very proud of at all that they've accomplished and what they continue to accomplish. And of course, my daughter giving me a granddaughter and a grandson is just. I am blessed way beyond measure with them, and I can tell you that as a grandparent, the first time that they put their arms out to pick, wanting you to pick them up, your heart melts and it becomes a moment in time that you will never forget.
Yeah.
It's just a grandchild's love is without question unconditional, and a grandparent's love is reciprocal.
Well, I told you before we started that my father has reminded me on multiple occasions that if he could have skipped me and gone straight to the grandkids, he would have done it. So
I'm not going to make that. I'm not going to make that mistake because that could come back to haunt me.
Oh, trust me, I remember it well. So I will take that into consideration when I'm booking his twilight years accommodations.
There you go.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to ask you along with that. I think I'm wearing out, buddy.
Well, I mean, you do this quite often. Was I wearing the school board hat the last time I got to talk to you?
I think so. Yeah, I don't know. You had just started the commission.
Okay.
I mean, just start like a week.
Yeah, I was big time in my learning curve.
Yeah, that's right.
You could say.
Why have you chosen not to continue?
At some point in time, you have to decide that that there are fresh ideas out there that you may no longer possess. You may have some wisdom that maybe somebody new coming on board may not have, but as long as you're willing to share that wisdom, if it's desired, I think that's the way you should be. But I'm if you take in consideration the number of years that I've spent, between school and county and community service, that maybe it's time to let somebody else
pass the baton.
Yeah, take the reins. Now I'm still, I want to be active in my church congregation. I want to be active in Rotary. I hope, without saying how much I want to be in my grandchildren's lives, and my prayer continues to be that the Lord lets me live long enough for them to remember me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to do my darndest to make sure that I help him out with that task.
Absolutely.
And but I'd like to think there's other people out there that have ideas that they haven't had an opportunity to express yet, and they have a desire to serve, and maybe it's time for me to get out of the way.
So not asking a name here, okay, but in your mind's eye, not an identity, but who is the person that replaces you on the county commission? Like what are the attributes? Who is that person?
As far as I'm concerned, the key is someone who has a heartfelt concern for the county community. And I don't guess I've coined that phrase, but I've certainly tried to use it.
So not their particular residents, but the county community as a whole.
The county community, because I've always, in my time on the school board, like I expressed earlier, if another end of the county needed our resources, that's where I would vote for it to go. If we needed it, I would certainly, on the end that I represented, I'd certainly make the case too. But in the end, we have to make the best decision that's in the best interest of the total county community. And if you're a one issue person, or if you're a one district or zone person, then you're not going to be very effective, because you're not going to have any help. Mm-hmm. You have to take in the big picture and be cooperative and say, hey, you're right. This issue is more important than my issue right now. Mm-hmm. And you just, again, a heartfelt desire to serve the county community. And if in anything else, I think it's lacking.
Gotcha. That's good stuff. So if you're thinking of it, when is your term up?
I will be a county commissioner, Lord willing, until the last day of August
of this year.
Yes. The August, was it 3rd? Oh, I hope I hadn't messed that up. But the county general offices will be up for election in August.
Oh, very good. All right. Anything else you got?
Just that, certainly been gratified for the community to allow me to serve. I know that's always said, but I was born in Smyrna when they didn't even have a hospital back in 1953, and I've lived in the town of Smyrna, the city of Laverne, almost all my life. Had some time out in the country in my early years, but I
Country's
love,
just about gone now.
well,
Isn't
it
it?
is here. Yeah, it is. But I'm just so pleased to have lived and grown here in Rutherford County, and that my children were educated here, and although they don't live here in Rutherford County presently, but they still have a love for our county community as I do. And so I'm just really pleased to have gotten to serve.
Well, he's a good one, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know Wayne, stop in at Rayburn Insurance or give him a call and pick his brain a little bit about what's going on in the county, because he will always share with you. He will always be fair, and you may not like what he says, but you know that it's coming from the right place.
Thank you.
And if you're interested again in that Wings of Freedom fish fry sponsorship, definitely hit one of us up. We will get you in the right place. I don't know what our goal is this year. The new president hasn't said it yet.
Well, I feel bad for Jason. He's got a hard act to follow.
He does.
But we just all have to come together and support him in his effort and do our due diligence, and hopefully he'll be bigger and better. And
Mr. Jason Surratt, that if anybody can do it though, he's the man.
He's a great guy.
He is. He's a good dude. One more shout to Mr. Brian Nail over at Iberia Bank Mortgage. Thank you so much, Brian, for underwriting us here at Spread the Positive and helping support the mission that Mr. Trent Denson,
thank you, Brian,
has undertaken here with STP Studios at Cedar Glade. You got anything, any guests that you'd like to see? Hit us up. We'd love to have them. If you'd like to be a guest, hit us up on that. And if you want to support Spread the Positive, absolutely contact Trent Denson, and let's get you on the rolls.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Wayne. That was awesome.
Thank you.
And Cammie, thank you so much for standing guard at the door.
What a great girl.
She is. She's been fantastic. She was growling at somebody earlier. I don't know what that was about.
I hope it wasn't me.
No, not you.
No, somebody was going to come in, and she said, "No,
they're recording.
Back off."
Recording in progress.
That's
All
right.
right. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Well, if you need anything real estate related, give me a shout, and have a great rest of the week. Talk to you again real soon.